Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be looking at Ethereum. Let's get into the price action and see what's going on. Primarily what we're still looking for is that potential that we are looking at an A, a B, and a C pattern to the downside. Now, what we are looking for is whether this move is actually completed into this low here and we are looking to form a different structure to the upside, or whether we still have some downside to come here. Now, because of the way that this move is developing, I haven't ruled out that idea of that flat correction either. That is still on the cards, where we could actually see this as still being within the B wave. So we need to be aware of that. Now, if we are arguing that we are within a C wave here, there's a couple of things that we need to talk about. So if we just overlay some of these counts here quickly, what we are looking for is whether we are actually extending out or whether we are forming something else. So now what we need to be careful of is from further back here, because we're looking at this as an A, a B, and then looking for that potential of a C, still looking out for that possibility that we could actually be extending within a series of 1s and 2s here. And what we'd be looking out for in that case would be that actually we could be setting up for this as a wave 1, looking for a wave 2 here. So this is valid really for as long as we actually fail to break above this 1887, and this would be looking for a much bigger breakdown. Now, the typical zone we'd be looking for wave 2 would be between this 1865 to this 1812. So we've actually come into this zone here already. Now there's a couple of ways we can potentially look to read this move. This Y wave here could also be something like this, A, B, and C, in which case we would be looking to complete this as a flat correction. So because we've actually come back down lower than this low here, what we could be saying is that we could see an expanding flat. Now if we are looking at expanding flat, what we could actually see is a move up here towards this 1863. That would be a typical zone of this as a 1-to-1 of this W, X, and this Y of the W wave. Now, if we are looking at that possibility, this can technically even push up towards this zone of this 1618, which is sitting here towards this 1888 area. So if this is a flat in a bigger way here as an expanding flat, what we could even see is a move up towards this higher level here of this 1888 zone. So if we do move up into this area, potentially in a 5-wave move, something like this, where this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we break up into this level, what we could then find is that this could actually just be a bigger corrective move. The problem that we have here is if we take this high, this would invalidate that potential of this being a 1-2 again. So we'll have to watch this, but technically speaking, we could move up to this level without actually crossing this, and it would still be valid as a potential move. Now, once we start to move up past this 1865 level, it becomes less likely that it's going to be a wave 2, but really until we actually hit that invalidation, it is still a possibility. So we need to be aware of that fact. So the other thing we were talking about within the counts was actually looking at this move as potentially being incomplete. So this is basically another way that we're looking at it, looking at this as a W, X, and a Y. So this zone we were looking for here is slightly different. Looking at this as a here, this is an X, ABC for a W. This is an X, this is another ABC. So this is another way we could read this corrective move. Instead of taking that X wave here, we take the X wave here, in which case we look at this as possibly a flat here. So within this, we can see that 1884 would actually be that 1.618 of this A wave in this case. So that would be quite interesting. Still same sort of idea, coming up one more time towards that 1-to-1 of that Y wave, which would be towards this 1865. So until we actually break that, we need to be aware that this could still look to break down. Now, if we do reject, and I was looking at the possibility that within this area we could actually break down. Now we haven't broken down in the way that I was looking for. It is still possible that this could actually become 1. We get something like this for wave 2, and then we break down in a diagonal, but this is not looking, that likely at this point, particularly with this 5-wave move to the upside. Although technically speaking, we haven't broken this 1837. So if we do break down in a bigger way here, what this would mean is that potentially what we could see is a move down towards these levels here of this 1737 as a wave 3, which would then put us in line for having an additional 4th and a 5th wave. Now, if this is the case, what we'd be looking for as a target would actually be lower down here towards this 1729 to this 1715. So this would be looking for that direct breakdown. Though, like I said, because of the fact we have this as a 5-wave move here, it doesn't really fit into this count that well. More inclined to think that this is a corrective structure. But if we do break down form this additional fourth and a fifth here, possibly what we could then see is a bigger breakdown towards this zone of the 1729 to the 1715. If we did break down in this way, what we would then be looking for as a potential for continuation would actually be finding rejection again here towards this 1825, below this 1825 level. As long as we remain below this, we'd have to still be on the lookout for the possibility that we could see something like this. A 0.618 would actually bring us back into these levels. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. If we continue to break down here, this could be something that we see playing out. Now, if we're arguing that rather what we have is a diagonal from here, what we are still looking for is that potential that this is 1, 2, 3 here, and we're looking for that potential of looking at this rather as an A wave into here, this is a B, and then we're looking for a 5-wave move to the upside. So invalidation of this as a potential expanding diagonal would be here at this 1933. Now these moves are not as common as the contracting variations, but it is still a potential for as long as we continue to follow structure. So if we form this as A, B, and C, and we get a move up here towards this 1892, I would still be looking out for that potential that this move could be actually a diagonal pattern where, like I said, this would then become our fourth wave, and then we'd be looking for a fifth wave to the downside. Now, if we did move up towards this 1892, what we would then be looking for is that possibility of having continuation in a 3-wave move like this, A, B, C, and it would have to cross the zone of this 1674 for confirmation that it is actually a diagonal pattern. Really, what this move needs to do is it needs to cross this wave 1 low rather, which is sitting at this 1860. So if we get a move past this 1860, that opens up this idea of the diagonal. Until we actually do, this is just a theory. So going to be keeping an eye on this. If this move does actually form as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what we could then see is that this is ABC, and then we have that continuation down for another 3-wave move looking for that target. But we obviously also have that more bearish scenario here where we could actually just break down directly. Now, the other thing we've been discussing is the possibility of having this as a flat correction. Now, because of that fact, what we were looking for is this potential here where we have this as A, looking for a B wave to the upside, and then looking for a C wave still to come. So this would all be within the yellow B wave. So because we got this bit of a choppy move to the downside here, what we could also have is this could just be a corrective wave. We actually came down here towards this 1236, which is the 1753, and we could actually be looking to push to the upside now and looking for a possible target of either this 1-to-1 of this A wave to the upside, which would be this blue one here, which would actually look to bring us back towards a 1967, and then also what we could see is a higher move here if it's going to become an expanding one where it takes this A wave high. So some target areas up here would be this 2025 to this 2023. There is a bit of confluence here between the 1.382 and the 786, which is sitting here at this 2061. So I would be keeping an eye on this level if we do break up here. As well as that, this would also tie in with coming into these center channels again here. So if we do get a push to the upside here, what this could then mean is that this could be a flat correction here. Now, if we do look at this as a possible flat correction, what we would be looking for within this count here is basically looking for that potential that we're looking for 5-wave structure. So we were looking for this count here as a potential count where we actually treat this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into this high point here, looking at it as a diagonal pattern, then looking for this as a wave 2, and then looking for 1, 2, and then looking for a bigger move up here for this third wave. The confirmation of this only comes by pushing up much higher here towards this 1963. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. If we do continue to hold this level here of this 1783, what we could see is this move actually develop up here in a bigger 5-wave structure. Now, it is possible this could be something like this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as we have an extended wave 1, and we'll get a shorter wave 3, 4, and 5 here. In which case we'd still be looking for that idea of having a 3-wave move down, 3, 4, and 5, looking to push to the upside. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. If this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have a 5th wave that's still not completed, what I'd be looking for is basically a move back down into some of these lower levels, possibly retesting this 1804 area, and then looking for that possibility to continue from that point and push to the upside. So really, as long as we hold this lower level here, potentially we can look for a push to the upside in a bigger impulse in this way. Now, the thing is with this, the third wave is a little bit iffy within here, so I'm just being mindful that it could actually not be like that. And what we could rather have is that we could have something like this, where what we do is we treat this move slightly different. And what we would be saying is that within this structure here, we have this as A, B, C for a wave 1, looking at this as a ending contracting diagonal, where this would become 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, the key thing here is we cannot cross this 1-to-1 here with this wave 3 of this 1892. Crossing that would invalidate this potential of having this as a diagonal. Now, looking at this move here, if this is A, B, and C, and this is going to be just a shallower B wave correction, what we have done is actually come down to this 0.382. Now, within a B wave, this is an acceptable target. What we could then see is this move develop as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Now, that 1-to-1 of this as ABC would actually be here at this 1867. Now, like we were talking about, there is variations that we could look at this move as a corrective move up. So we'd have to be careful of the fact that if we do just get a 3-wave move up here, that could complete a bigger corrective structure here, where this is W, X, and Y. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. But if we do get a 3-wave move up here, ABC, what we could then see is a corrective move back to the downside, overlapping this wave 1, and then seeing an additional 3-wave move to the upside. So if we actually did get a move up towards this 1-to-1, what we could be looking for as a 4th wave would actually be towards this zone of this 1828. So now that would be looking for this as a 3rd wave into this location and a 4th wave here. If this does push actually higher up here, and we move between to this high, which would be quite an interesting level to actually get a rejection off of, what we could then see is that rather this this target area could actually come back and just on a 0.618, just come back and cross this wave 1 high. So this is what we need to do for a diagonal. We need to have this 3rd wave complete, and then we could look to push down for a 4th and then a 5th. If we did have to come back down and just cross this wave 1 high, then what we could be potentially setting up for is a move to that 0.618, which would be sitting here at this 1915. Invalidation, once again, as a diagonal, it cannot be longer than the wave 3, so this 1-to-1 up here cannot get crossed this 1958. So if this is a 3rd wave completed into this high, this comes back down, just crosses this wave 1, we wouldn't want to cross this 1958. So we're going to have to monitor this. If we do get a move to the upside like this is a diagonal, we have to be aware that this could be that C wave that we're looking for, in which case we could then look to break down in a bigger way from off the back of this. Now, if this is not a C wave, what we'd be on the lookout for is that potential of a 3-wave move down, which actually maintains these lows here, in which case we can start to argue that this could actually be either a bigger A wave here or a wave 1, and then we'd be looking for that potential of a breakout from that retracement if it manages to hold these lows. So some other areas of confluence that I was having a look at here, just looking at this as a bigger range here, is that if we did move back up into this channel line, this would actually bring us back into this value area high that we have here, which is sitting towards this zone of this 1929. So this would tie in with that idea of getting a bigger C wave to the upside here, looking for that 1-to-1. Alternatively, if we do look to break down from here, potentially this value area low, which is sitting towards this 1700 area, could be an interesting zone to keep an eye on. So we're going to keep an eye on these levels, and as this move plays out, possibly as long as we hold this point of control in the middle of here, we can start to look for that possibility to push to the upside for this value area high. But if we do start to break down, I would be keeping an eye on some of these lower levels. Obviously, we do have the trend lines here, the channel here rather, and looking for that possibility that we could see this revisited. But like I said, it would need to be careful here, because there's arguments for both the bullish case here and the bearish case, where we could see some short-term price action to the upside and then a drop down, or alternatively it could just start to develop to the downside straight away. Okay, so we're going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. See you in the next one. Take care.